But has anybody noticed since Corona has hit that it's progressively like they're trying to control us more? It's progressive. So it goes from okay, stay in your house. Then it goes to like, oh, we're looking for a vaccine, and if we find one, it might be mandated that you get it before you can go back to work. Like, okay. Then all of a sudden now there is going to be a coin shortage, and that everything is going cashless. So with that whole cashless society thing, they can control and monitor every dollar, every move you make. From here on out, they go cashless.
The reason why
they've already been making that move.
Right. But what I'm saying,
that is like it's like I got this, and I'm talking on the phone, and I got a laptop, and I got 4 social medias. You know what I mean? Like, they don't need, like, you're monitoring yourself all day.
It's all right. It's not about monitoring you. It's about having control over your assets.
Right. So it's not like me and my mom just had this conversation because she said the same thing. She was like, "You have a phone, they track you." I'm like, "Yeah, they do, but they don't know. They cannot track every dollar because not all of my money is made."
But they can control your spending. Like they're looking on your phone.
Yeah, they
look at the stuff that you. They look at the stuff that you look at, and then they advertise.
Know what I have. What?
No, what I'm saying is like you heard of an SEO?
Oh, an SEO?
An SEO. Brandon has, I think. But basically, like, every time you go on the internet and look up anything, they can control your spending habits and make it seem as if the best type of captivity is the illusion of freedom. Like,
it is.
As a human being, you're automatically going to resist tyranny because you're built with a certain consciousness to be curious, to explore, to want to be out of any restraints. So if it's obvious, you're going to automatically fight against it. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of examples of that. But if they give you an illusion of choice, then you can basically you'll hold yourself captive. You know what I mean? Like, when I brought up the SEOs, it's like you're on your phone searching all day and you're at liberty and you're searching, and then they send you these quote unquote suggestions, but it's really just controlling your spending based off of your habits, and you're in your own closure. You know what I mean? Like,
we've all noticed that, where you search for one thing and all of a sudden all the ads happen to match that thing.
You don't even have to search it. You don't even have to search it. If you are around somebody else that was around a certain business, then it can come up on your phone. Like, when I was at work, I went and got lunch at Arby's. My coworker was like, "Why did I just get an ad for Arby's?"
All you have to do is speak it now. You don't even have to
you don't even have to speak it. You don't even have to speak it anymore.
If you're around someone who did something and they just, they figure you're in their circle, you might be interested too.
Exactly.
They got
that's how that works.
They got
and they're going to set it up to where if you don't get this vaccine, you're not going to be able to make money and provide for yourself or get an education or anything.
Well, that's where the RFID chip thing comes in. You have the mark of the beast. Don't get the chip. And eventually they're going to try to make that mandatory as well.
I feel like,
I agree with Los on the fact that the illusion of freedom, and I think America has done, I guess, an excellent job, of doing this, because prior to America, control of another nation was required physical presence. They would physically conquer a country, and they would be like, well, now this queen is your queen, and we control you. And see, what America did very often is they didn't want to control the government as much as they wanted to control the commerce. So what they would do is they would set up things like McDonald's and things over there, and the people would fall in love with the stuff that we gave them, and then we would threaten to take it away if they didn't do the certain things we wanted them to do. So we provide these things, better ways of life. And I'm all right, well, if you want to continue using these things, we need you to do this. And so we would control them without actually, like, physically being a visible presence. We would control them and think they have the illusion of choice when they really don't. And that's how we were able to have so much influence on a lot of parts of the world.
So as far as this vaccine, are y'all getting it or not?
I'm cool. I don't want it. I do get the flu vaccine because I've always gotten it, even prior to ever having like a real choice of my own. I was getting it. So like any new vaccine that's coming around, I'm cool. I don't know what y'all did to this.
How you know you ain't already chipped up? Like I just had my son in 2016. I mean, I feel like that technology would have been around at 2016. Like, he probably already chipped up.
In the nursery, they got him already chipped up?
Yeah. I mean,
I never thought about that, but I don't know.
Listen, they held him in the hospital for another week after we delivered him. We wasn't even able to monitor him for a full 24 hours for 2 weeks. I mean, for like a whole week. So, like, who knows what they did to my son while he was in the hospital.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I just feel like, man, God is greater. Like, they can't, I don't know. I just feel like whatever plans they're devising, as human beings, it's never going to really work. You know what I mean? Like, the only way, like,
that
I feel like it could work is for us to hold ourselves captive. You realize, like, all right, think about all the shady stuff that has happened to you. At some point, you might have signed a contract for that to happen to you. Like, you might be mad at Sally Mae, but when you was 18 or 17, you signed a contract to be in that condition. Yeah,
all the terms of agreement that we sign away for all the social media.
My man Lupe said
those Rumpelstiltskin deals.
Yeah.
It's like Lupe said, man, the weapon of the weak, and when I say the weak, I mean like that 1% who want to control the world, like their greatest weapon is the weakness of your heart. When they find you in those compromising positions and you like, man, I really want to get an education, but I can't do it without this loan. You know what I mean? It's like, especially.
Well, they do that because they control the companies and organizations, and those organizations are requiring you to have a college degree or you won't be able to get it. So then they also jack up the prices on the loans because you can't pay for it yourself. They jack up the prices on your education. And a lot of people are like, well, the prices are going up, but the quality of education hasn't matched. What the hell are y'all doing? About making money.
And it's like they walked us to sleep with that for like 20 years. But now that we waking up to it, they got to find a new trick. You see what I'm saying? Like they're not going to
play new tricks.
Yeah, but it's I don't know. I just feel like the human race is so adaptable that I really don't feel like there's going to be a way for them to control us without our consent. And that's their trick.
No, I agree with you. If it's not without, if we don't consent to it, it's short-lived. But that's where the talent of their creativity comes in. They find ways of giving the illusion that our condition is permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're born poor, you're going to be poor, and you just But also giving that illusion of freedom. I mean, think about this: the American dream. The illusion of freedom in America is that you can do and be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to strive towards owning a house and having kids and white picket fence, and you're supposed to do that. Like your level of success is based off of those things. When most of those things that they talk about being successful fuels the big industries in America. So we're talking about America, cars, oil, the real estate business, like those. The American dream is all revolving around that stuff. Like, you're not you ain't shit unless you got this. You need this, and you gotta buy this other thing so you can get to that thing that we need you to buy. So you gotta buy both.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I also think that a lot of it has to do with the cycle in which they keep poor people poor. Like, you know, I look at like what they're doing now and how like they're taking the ghettos and they're knocking them down and they're putting up all these redevelopment plans, and they are, what you say, Brandon, giving people what they feel is the American dream: a house, a car, a nice job, but it's within your own area. Don't come out of your area. Don't you leave that area.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna put something nice there for you, but don't leave it. We don't want you out here in this side of town.
Well, they do that so it makes it a whole lot easier for us to pit us against each other when you do that.
Right. And to control us in that environment. That's your environment. That's, oh, look what we did for you. This is what we did for you. You can't say that the government didn't help you try to succeed and get out of your rut or whatever you want to call it. But I just think that it's crazy how, like, you know, we start to pick up on these things as adults and like as kids. And I think that's why, like, you know, I feel that they gear everything more towards that, you know, younger generation anymore. It's because us older ones snapped out of it. We snapped out of that thing that we're in, and now we know what's going on. That's why I feel that, like, you know, the with this coronavirus and it's almost like it's targeting the older population. We got to get rid of them. They're causing too much in Social Security. They're doing too much.
Money.
Yeah, they do. We have all these retirement homes that are funded by the government, and you know, like, it's like
the people that are high
get rid of them. Like, they're just living too long. Like, you know what I mean? Right. So
think about, like, so there, I'm trying to remember a comedian that said this, but thinking about this, how fucked up is this, right? Your average life expectancy is only a couple years past their retirement age. Yeah. So as soon as you're no longer able to work, you're supposed to die.
Want you gone. You gotta go.
Right. Retirement age is 65, but you know the average life expectancy is like 68, 72. Right.
You gotta go.
So, right, you work and then you go on one cruise and you die.
Right. Right. And it's like, yeah, but that's the problem. People are living longer now. That's the problem. The life expectancy has gone up. So that's why they have moved the retirement age, and they keep moving it. Isn't that funny? It was 65. It is no longer 65. It is now 67. So retirement age is 67. By the time we retire, it's going to be like 80.
Right.
Hey, y'all want to live longer? Y'all going to work longer.
If we can retire, you know what I mean? Like, if we can. But I want to say,
so funny to me.
The powers that be, whenever they play these tricks or whatever, a lot of times they remind you, they are in some ways like reminding you of your strengths. Like, imagine before the quarantine, anybody who had to stay at home and had to deal with their kids like 24 hours, or like you never would have thought that you could homeschool your kids, but you get thrust in these positions, and it just kind of just reminds you of like how adaptable you really are as a human being. And I feel like if we was to look at that differently, instead of looking at it like, oh, I'm thrust into this awkward position, or this I'm jammed up in this position where like I'm not gonna have no money, I'm gonna have to figure it out. If we would just look at that positively and be like, yo, I still made it. You know what I mean? It's like, if we draw upon that strength, we wouldn't need these powers. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but you got to remember, like,
you can take advantage.
That works for the poor people, not the wealthy. That is an asset of poor people, not rich, not
Right.
of the wealthy or rich.
I'm saying like if poor people just if we look at those as strength instead of just hard times, like if we looked at those hard times and really thought about the resilience that we have in those moments, our conditions would be a whole lot better and we would be way less dependent on those powers. And then
we have this chance to like teach our youth whatever we want to teach them about about health, about wellness, about racism. You know, we could really take this time, you know, we can take it and use it to our benefit. So I agree with you, Lois, on that.
Because the whole,
speaking about education,
though.
Speaking about education, about teaching our children what they need to learn about stuff and being on topic. Have you noticed that there aren't any classes until college, really, that teach you about finance, money, or money management, wealth? Nothing. Like, there should be a standing class in elementary school about how money works, but they don't even have it. Unless you go to college and take, economics and stuff, there is nothing. They don't want us to know how things
credit cards work or how to get a home loan.
I went to an all-white school, high school, so there was only, at a time, there was only 10 Black people in the school, but at that school, senior year, we did have one class, and it was called Life After Graduation, and they taught us about taxes.
I went to an all-white school. Nope, they didn't have that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I mentioned that part, too, because most
they taught you about taxes?
They talked to us a little. It was real, it was real brief. Little bit about taxes, little bit about getting your own apartment, little bit about getting a car, a little bit, it was just life after graduation. They hit a few topics, and I know and I understand that most schools don't have that. Most schools don't teach you anything, about credit.
Now that's more than most schools do, which is a good class to have. But like, your class didn't teach anything about investing or stocks, bonds, ownerships. Like how money works on the macro level and the micro level. Now, I'm in
the only thing
so
that my math teacher did is he incorporated it into our math. Like he did, like loan percentages. Like if you were to take a loan, and the percentage is this is how much you pay on this loan. Or if you bought a house at a fixed or a conventional or a flex rate, like this is what it could be, this is how it would be with this percentage. But the rest of it, it was a lesson within a class. It wasn't like a class dedicated to it. So whenever we were learning about percentages in math, that he used that example for our percentages. But the rest of us is looking at him like, bro, I'm 17. I could care less about what my fixed rate is going to be on my house.
Right. I wish I would have took in, because although we had the class, we were introduced to some of those concepts. But I was a kid. Like I was doing, okay, here's what you want me to fill this out. All right, I filled it out, turn it in. I'm not thinking I need to be taking this in for real.
Right. The reason why though, is because knowledge is nothing without application. Imagine, Sherelle, if you during that class, instead of spending the money that they spend on sending y'all to a field trip or whatever foolishness they spent your money on in that school district, imagine if they gave every kid in that class a stipend to actually invest with. Yeah, man. Imagine if they gave every kid in that class $50 to $100 and you could actually see the bread grow. Yeah,
Or if they would give you money toward your education instead of going on that damn field trip.
Because like I said, education
because you start out in life in debt. Like if you go to school after high school, if you go to college after high school, you automatically start off in debt. Period.
Right. You do.
So, and it's like, okay, now I'm starting in the negative before I can even gain to see what life is. So you're already poor before, like, they're talking about, oh, well, you can only get rich if you get this college degree. And it's like, okay, well, I got to go to school because they're not accepting anything anymore. You're not going to make the money if you don't have the degree behind it. So it's like, okay, so for me to get this degree to get ahead, I got to start 10 steps backwards in the red, in $60,000-$70,000 in debt, and then go forward and buy a house, a car, start a family. And it's like, bro, what? Like, this is so ass backwards.
A lot of people don't want to get involved because a lot of people understand that to be true.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
ass backwards.
They could give you money towards your education, but I feel like you could still squander that education even if it was free without real life application. Like, I remember when I was in high school, even though Wilkinsburg was a terrible school, it must have been some type of program that came through and lend us money or something. But somehow people in my senior class, we all got to build our own personal computers, and we all got to take those computers home. And I remember that being one of the most pivotal things in my life, was building that computer. Now, could I build a computer from scratch right now? No, but I know for sure before that experience, I would have never thought in a million years that my hands could do something like that. You know what I mean? And like
that application is very, very important.
It linked to me being able to like work. Like, I worked in the tech field after high school for like 13 years off of just pure muscle and just my own curiosity put me into those fields. You know what I mean? Like, and the grace of God. But without that initial contact, like, I don't even think I would have thought that I could do some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
so that's just like, because my husband is
very
the same
important.
thing. He said the same thing with automotive, with cars. He said that he had an auto body in high school, and after coming out, he was able to just, out of the pure knowledge that he got just from taking auto body, that he was able to change his own oil, rotate his own tires, put in his own brakes and stuff. And he said he didn't have to pay for that coming out.
Right.
But
so to me,
that is so true. I wonder
like,
what the same path is that.
Go ahead. Yeah, I feel like it should be like less I don't know, just less, just like when I was taking geometry classes or physics classes, like, it was so mind numbing because it was like, what is the point? Like, why are you telling me this? But if there would have been some application behind it, and I could have saw like, oh, you use geometry for these practices, I probably would have way better impact on my life. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
very true. That's why, now, I don't know we're in our third perspective, but doing things like Robinhood or Acorn and doing investments and stuff, I kind of wish it was available for me to start that a lot earlier than right now to see how this works. But I do agree with the whole thing with the automotive, because I can, because I did that for a while, working for an automotive company, repair shop, whatever. And people don't normally know this. If you know how to change your own brakes, it's not that hard. You can get people to teach you. You can actually do your brakes for free. Like, if you go to some places, it'll cost you $300, $400 to do a brake change. But you can actually do it for free, because a lot of, like, AutoZone and Advanced Auto, they have warranties on brake pads. So once you pay for it once, every time you replace them, they refund the money. So as long as you do the labor yourself, changing brakes is free. It's completely zero money to do it.
right.
Zero. But you gotta know how to do it yourself. It's not difficult, but not knowing how to do it, you're like, I ain't gonna even try to do it. If you did it yourself, a lot of that stuff can be very free for you. It's like,
I think a lot of times it's teaching you how to think. So I mean, the application would be so great.
Yeah, for
if they added that in, because it would stick with you much longer. But I think oftentimes they're trying to teach you how to problem solve and teach you how to think. And like, now, Lo, since you built that computer, now when you come up against something challenging, you're not going to step back from it. You're going to go forward with it. You're going to take time. It's going to, it's teaching you how to structure, how to,
you're less likely to outsource that stuff if you've already gone down the path of learning how to do certain things yourself and understanding the process.
I think the thing that was valuable about that course though was that everybody got to take their computer home. So you was more invested in the classes and all the processes because there was actually something tangible that you could take with you. So like if you were talking about like a home finance class, if they gave you $50 and at the end of that class you could turn that 50 into 200, you might be more willing to learn that process because there's something tangible that you can be like, okay, I turned this 50 into 200 with, the skills that they taught me, and I can do that again, like over and over and over again, like I can, that's an automatic stream of income for you now. Like if you don't got a job, that you could go through the stock market and gamble a little bit, based off of what you learned with the application, like.
Just this little stuff. It doesn't gotta be gajillions of dollars. Showing a kid they can turn $10 into 200.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, at least they know that is an option. They have some knowledge on how to pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to do that because a lot of us come from families that have a broke mindset mentality.
Right. Yep. And I'm telling you,
or they go into something illegal. So they talk about, oh, we're gonna flip this break. That's pretty much the same thing as going to the stock market. Sure. You buy low and you sell high. It's the same, but one's illegal, one's not.
Right. And they create pitfalls to keep you out of being able to do legit stuff too.
Yeah.
Of course.
Speaking of all that, did y'all see Master P? Have y'all been watching that No Limit Chronicle documentary?